If you're looking to move to the Boise, Idaho area and you're looking at new construction homes, consider this video your masterclass on everything you need to know about buying a new construction home in the Boise and Treasure Valley area. My name is Curtis Chism, and I have a master's degree in construction management from the University of Southern California. I used to build high-rises and luxury apartments, condos in downtown San Diego. I also have my general contractor's license back in California, but I moved to Idaho a couple of years ago to find a better life for my family, and we absolutely love it. And I love helping people just like you make the move here. I really do specialize in new construction homes. It's been a passion of mine my entire life, building things and then building homes, and now helping people buy new construction homes up here in Idaho. In fact, of the 12 contracts that I have open when I'm recording this video, they're all new construction homes, and about 90% of the buyer side of my business is new construction homes. So huge specialty of mine, and I love talking with people about new construction and helping them get into these beautiful new construction homes. So if that's you, then this is the video that you need to keep watching in order to find out everything you need to know about new construction homes. And we're gonna be covering things like the incentives that are available to when you're buying new construction homes, whether or not you can make contingent offers on a home, and the accountability that's needed for the builders when you're buying a new construction home here in the Boise, Idaho area. So let's get after it right now. Let's cover some terminology of new construction homes. So you've got a good baseline of what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Builders are going to refer to two types of options for you with new construction homes. And it's going to be a little confusing because oftentimes they'll use the phrase, when you build with us. Now, if you're buying a new construction home, you're thinking, aren't I building with you no matter what? It's a brand new home, I'm building it. Well, that's not the case. When they refer to a build home or a build project or when you build with us, they're referring to the process of you actually going and selecting the lot that you want, the model home that you want with the right floor plan, the structural options, the finishes, and then that goes into the city and you build a semi-custom home with them, and that process takes a while, 6 to 9 months typically. But now you're thinking, well, what's the other option? Of course, there are quick move-in homes, spec homes, or move-in ready homes. Those are gonna be homes that are either on the market right now, ready to buy and move into within the next 30 days, or they might be under construction and they're 4, 5, 6 months. Sometimes they're not even under construction, but they're still considered a quick move-in home, and they might be 8 to 9 months out. Now, what you need to know about those quick move-in or spec homes is that there's basically no customizations allowed on those homes. The builder's already pre-selected everything about that home. The types of garages, maybe an RV garage, maybe it doesn't. The types of finishes in the home, quartz versus granite, the type of flooring, and you really do not get a say. With the build homes, you get to select almost everything in that home. Now, why would you want to buy a new construction home versus a resale home? I like to compare buying a new construction home to buying a new car, but there's some benefits with it. When you buy a new car, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it depreciates 25%. New homes do not do that. They hold their value, but you have a brand new home that no one has lived in before, just like that new car. It's not something that someone has driven before. You don't know really what the history is on it. With a new construction home, you know exactly what that history is because you're the first one owning that home. With a brand new home, you also get brand new systems like your HVAC system, like your AC, your furnace, your roof, your flooring, everything is brand new. You're not worried about it breaking down in 5, 10 years or less with a resale home. So you know you've got some good longevity out of all those things, probably a good 15, 20 plus years before you have to replace those, assuming you maintain them correctly. And of course, the resale home, you have no clue if they maintained those systems correctly. And with brand new homes, you also get the most energy efficient homes on the market, and you get the most modern layouts with the most modern finishes. Even homes that were built 15, 20 years ago, they might have finishes that were really popular at that time, like kind of the Tuscan feel to it, with lots of travertine that looks great, but it's starting to get a little bit dated versus the more modern white quartz that a lot of people are choosing now. And the interesting thing about new construction communities here in Idaho is you really get a wide mix of people living here. You do have local Idahoans that are buying the new construction homes, but you also have a lot of folks from out of state like myself living in these new construction communities. I bought a brand new home when I moved to Idaho, and my immediate neighbors surrounding me all came from other states as well. So it was actually really cool to kind of move into a brand new community and not feel like an outsider because you're new to the area, because everyone else was new to the area too. Now, another reason to buy new construction homes are the warranties that come with it. You're gonna get a 1-year standard building warranty with pretty much any of the builders. that is going to cover pretty much anything that can go wrong with the home except, cosmetic finishes because you banged a wall. But any of the main systems are going to be covered under that. You're also typically, with some builders, not all, you're going to get an extended warranty on the structural options as well. Potentially 5 to 10 years on the structural options as well. And then your major systems, like your roofing and your AC and furnace, usually are going to carry a longer warranty, anywhere between 5 to 20 years as well. Now let's talk about the process of buying a new construction home. Now this is going to be referring to the build process, where you are selecting the lot and building a semi-custom home with the builder. A spec home is going to be a condensed version of this. So when you purchase a brand new construction home, we are contracting with a builder here in Idaho, and you get to go and select your lot that's available from the lots that have been released. Some things to keep in mind when you are selecting a lot of popular lots that people like here are homes that have a driveway that is either facing south, and the reason for that is because the sun is going to help melt off any snow that you're going to get, or a driveway that is facing west, same reason for snow melting off. You also get better shade in your backyard with both of those homes. Probably the worst lot to have is when you have a driveway that's facing north, because that snow and ice in the winter takes a really long time to melt off. Now, once you've selected your lot, you also get to select the model that you want, the floor plan, and then you select typically your structural options up front. That's gonna be, do you want a 2-car garage, or do you want a 3rd-car garage? Do you want a flex room or an office or a bedroom? Or do you want a formal dining room, or maybe turn that into a bedroom? Do you want a door over here versus not having a door? Those are gonna be your structural options. Once your structural options have been selected, we contract with a purchase price. Then you will schedule a showroom appointment, and you'll actually come here to Idaho and go in person to the showroom and select all of your finishes in your home. Now with the structural, you can do this all virtually through me and the builder. We help you walk through everything. For the showroom appointment, you can do that virtually through me. I help you walk through that process, but I typically recommend that you come to Idaho and actually see everything in person. It's really a better thing to see the colors and the textures, everything in person, so you can see what it really looks like in real life with natural sunlight and what things feel like. Now, once your showroom appointment is done and you have a final contract price, there's a change order that happens for your final price. Also, any lot premiums are going to be included in that original price. So now you have a total price for your home, and then the builder can draw up the final plans and submit that to the city. Now that whole process up front with all the design and the city permitting is likely going to take somewhere between 2 or 3 months to work through that process. Once that is done, now you're ready to actually start construction, and the fun part really begins. Now this next part is basically about 4 to 6 months. So that's how we arrive at generally about 6 on the low end to about 9 months total construction time for a new build project. Now with most builders, not all, but you're typically going to have a pre-construction meeting before you actually dig on the home, just to make sure that they've got all the structural options in the right place, the floor plan looks good, you give the green light, and then they start digging usually the next day. Now, once the dig process is underway, things can happen fast. They'll dig, they'll pour the foundations, and then all of a sudden, boom, the house is framed and things are progressing really rapidly. Things kind of slow down because that's a lot of progress right up front, and things just visually change slower as the plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC goes in. Now, before we hit the drywall stage, right after all that in-wall roughing is done, that electrical, plumbing, HVAC systems, we typically will have a pre-drywall meeting. So that is actually on site in the home, walking through the home, checking everything, making sure that all the electrical is in the right place and everything looks good before they actually button up the walls and drywall. Again, that can be done virtually. Most of my clients end up doing it virtually, but you can also be here on site and do it in person. After the drywall stage, that is really your last opportunity to do any sort of pre-inspection on the home. They rock and roll, and then as we head towards the finish line, usually about 2 weeks or so before closing, I highly recommend doing a third-party inspection. It does cost a few $100 depending on the home, usually between $400 to $550, depending on how big the home is, how many bedrooms that is. But that is where accountability really comes in, that I'm going to address here a little bit more in a minute. And that's where we can get in there and just make sure that everything is a-okay with a third-party inspector beyond the builders, project managers, superintendents, and the city inspection. Typically, the builders are going to fix all those things prior to the NHO, or new homeowners orientation. Now, the new homeowners orientation is going to be done right before closing, usually within 3 to 5 days. This is essentially your final walkthrough, verifying any repairs that you requested were made and walking through how your home operates, all the major systems of the home, and the warranties that are included with the home. After the NHO, we're going to sign off on everything. You're going to go to the closing table either here in Idaho at the title title escrow company. Or if you're still not here in your other state, then you're going to do a mobile notary, sign all the loan paperwork if you're buying with a loan. If you're buying cash, there's not much to do. You just have to sign everything over DocuSign, typically digitally, and then the home is yours and you get the keys. With a quick move-in home, a lot of this is condensed. You basically have an opportunity to do a third-party inspection. We'll do that new homeowner's orientation. You'll sign your paperwork and you get your keys. Much more condensed process, but a lot less choices as well. Next, we're gonna talk about some of the financials around buying a home and what to expect so you're not disappointed. I've had a number of times where people get into buying the home and then they realize some issues around contingencies that just don't quite work. So let's talk quick about what to expect as far as the money that you're gonna need to come into buying a new home. With the builders, generally speaking, you're gonna be coming in, if you're buying a quick move-in or spec home, typically somewhere between 1% of the purchase price to 4% of the purchase price. So let's just say you're buying a $600,000 home, 1% is gonna be about $6,000, 3% is gonna be $18,000. Now, if you're building, so you're actually selecting your lot and the home and going through the 9-month process, usually you're going to be required to come in with more money. Typically around 10% non-refundable. So again, if you're buying a $600,000, $700,000 home, you're looking around $60,000 to $70,000. Also, they are gonna require for any upgrades you make in the showroom, you're gonna have to come in with a percentage of that. That could range from anywhere from 10% to 50% of the upgrades you make. So if you make $100,000 in upgrades, you could be coming in with an additional $10,000 to $50,000 of the upgrade selections that you made. Now, there are a couple builders around here that also tack on a promissory note. So what this means is they're gonna have your deposit somewhere between 4 to 10% that you're gonna have to come in with, and then they're gonna tack a promissory note on there as well. So if you back out of the contract, they have the legal right to come after you for an additional percentage. And what I've seen typically is another 6%. One builder here, it requires a 4% earnest money deposit with a 6% promissory note. Another one requires 10% with a 6% promissory note. So you're on the hook for 16% plus any showroom upgrades that you make. And here's the big kicker with all these builders is that typically these are gonna be non-refundable deposits. So if you back out on the home for any reason, you're pretty much losing that deposit. Now, occasionally they will allow financing contingencies, appraisal contingencies, but oftentimes with the builders, you just don't get that opportunity. You're really committed when you're going in on this. And with that, essentially, no builder allows contingent offers on the sale of a primary residence. So if you're coming here and you're saying, hey, I'm gonna buy cash with the proceeds of my home back in, say, California, most likely you're not going to be able to make a contingent offer. So if you're unable to sell that home, you're on the hook to buy that home and you're gonna lose that earnest money deposit. Now, some of the builders will still allow you to contract on the home and build over that 9-month process. They understand that you have to sell your home. It's not contingent, but they'll give you that time frame to sell your home and either have your down payment or your full cash purchase come from the sale of the home. Other builders will not allow that at all. They wanna see that you have full funds or pre-approval for the full amount of that home. And I've run into this a couple times with folks with different builders where they get really frustrated by that process because they're planning to buy cash. They don't want to go through the whole approval process for a loan, but the builder has to see the money in a bank account. Now it might be in your savings, your checking, or an investment account before they will allow you to contract on the home. So just be aware that contingent offers are not really a thing on new construction homes here in Idaho. Now we're coming up on incentives that you can get here with builders here in Idaho, but I want to talk about accountability and what to expect when working with the builders here in Idaho. Now, we have a lot of quality builders here. They are building good homes. There are better builders. There are not as good builders. You can go online and see all kinds of reviews about all these builders, and some are gonna have horrible reviews, and some are gonna have really good reviews. You have to keep in mind, I would just say that a lot of people, when they are leaving reviews online for people, they're usually doing it because there's enough of a drive to do that, and it's usually because they're frustrated. So you're gonna get probably the worst reviews in a lot of builders here. So take some of that with a grain of salt. Reach out to me. We can talk through what I think are some of the better quality builders depending on your budget. There are more budget-friendly builders here and certainly higher end, more luxury builders. And so there's a wide range of builders that we can discuss. But no matter what, you want to make sure you have representation through an agent like myself who has experience in the construction trades, with contracts and with working with the builders here in Idaho, because you do not save any money by trying to go direct through a builder and you will be frustrated through the whole process. I have had people reach out to me as they're midway through working with a builder on their contracts, wanting me to represent them, but it's too late because the builders will not allow an outside party to come in and represent you once you've made contact with that builder. And I'm telling you that you have to know these builder contracts and you have to know what is in them. Some of the builders have their own contracts you have to sign. They don't use the standard Idaho contracts. And even if they do use the standard Idaho contracts, they likely have their own addendum or rider on there where you have to sign off that basically supersedes the main Idaho contract. And some of these builders actually pay their builder reps their commissions up front. So what happens there is if you're an agent, you're a builder rep, and you're given your commission, what are you incentivized to do? You're incentivized to make that sale as fast as possible, tell someone whatever they want to hear, and then as soon as that contract's signed, you're getting a paycheck, and they really do not care about what happens in 9 months, and customer service really goes down. I've experienced that recently with a builder where we went through the process, we spent hours and hours and hours with the builder rep, got good customer service up front. As soon as that contract was signed, oh man, any kind of change, any kind of request, it was a battle. So I had this client from Arizona and they just wanted to make some changes on the landscaping, just want to swap out the types of trees they had from pine trees to maple trees. And they thought they were going to have that opportunity up front. We were told that at the beginning. And then all of a sudden we got this addendum saying, here's your landscaping plan, sign it. And they're like, no, we want to change out these couple trees. And we had to battle and we were told no repeatedly. And finally, I was able to get it changed for them and it made them happy. Again, that's just one example of how you have a representative who just doesn't care anymore. They just want you to sign the paperwork because they already got paid. And that's why you need someone to represent you and help you work through that process to avoid these frustrations and actually get what you want in a home, especially when you're paying $500,000, $1 million, $2 million for a home. It doesn't matter what you're paying for the home. You're paying for that home. It's a lot of money for you and you should get what you want. And then with inspections, you really want to make sure you get that third-party inspection I talked about and that we do those final walkthroughs. Here's the thing, these builders do a great job. They have city inspections, they have their own internal inspections, but they still miss things. It is common for me to go into a home, do a third-party inspection with my recommended inspector and find things like disconnected ductwork in the crawl space or the attic, something leaking, or maybe a drain is sloped the wrong way, it's never gonna drain correctly, or maybe a floor joist has been literally cut out to make way for a drain, weakening the floor. These things that happen, and if you don't have an inspector go into these spaces and find them for you, you're never gonna know until a year or two later, until that issue arises and you're out of warranty. So you really gotta make sure we hold these builders accountable through the whole process. And finally, let's talk about incentives with the builders here in Idaho, where you're gonna save your big money. Now, with the slowdown in the market in 2022, 2023, there were a lot of incentives that were being offered. I had one client got over $100,000 in incentives knocked off the purchase price of her home, and I regularly now get people incentives between $10,000 to $50,000. But with the market changing and it's starting to pick up again here in Idaho, those incentives are starting to go away. So we really got to make sure that we identify the builders that are going to give you the best bang for your buck, the best incentives, and let's get everything we can. Sometimes it's offered upfront right on their website, and sometimes they've got this back pocket money. They call it hip pocket money or extra money to play with. We got to ask and make sure we can get all of that for you. You also need to know that sometimes what's shown on the website is not what is really offered. Sometimes they show much larger incentives. Recently, I had someone say, hey, I want that $45,000 incentive. There was no way we were going to get that. They were only offering $15,000 plus another $10,000 when using their lender. So they often offer bigger incentives on their website. Come to find out, they might be less. So don't be disappointed when you don't quite get what you're looking for, because these are big national builders and they're advertising all over the nation, not just here in Idaho. If you made it all the way through this video, that was a masterclass in buying a new construction home here in Idaho. I hope you found this helpful. And if you are looking to buy new construction or resell here in Idaho, and you're looking to make the move from out of state, all you gotta do is reach out to me via phone, text, or email. Contact information is below. And I absolutely love helping people make the move here to Idaho, just like I did when I moved from San Diego with my wife and my young children, and we absolutely love it, and I love helping you. Again, I have a master's in construction management. I used to have my general contractor's license in California, and I specialize in new construction homes here in Idaho, and I'd absolutely love to have the opportunity to help you make that smooth move here to Idaho. If you are looking to watch more videos about moving here to Idaho, just watch this video right here where we dive in deeper. I'll see you on the next video.